How did it happen?
Actually, I do explain it in the first chapter of Sharing. But I'd just come out of Israel, where I'd been living for a year, and somebody had stolen my money, and I was down to my last £7. I had a crisis because I was singing in a nightclub in Akko, and I was invited by another nightclub owner to sing in his club, and so the first club owner told the police that I was over my permit, so I had to get out of Israel very quickly. So I got to Cyprus, to the port of Limassol, and there that evening I had no idea where I could go, what I could do. I was at a crossroads in my life. I had £7 and I wanted to go to India. There was no way I could get from there to India on £7. I didn't want to go back home. That was much too early. So I was just sitting. I watched the sun go down over the sea, and suddenly it felt like a ghostly hand crept up the back of my neck. All the hairs stood up and over my head, and it was like something was pressing a ghostly brain on top of mine and into my brain. I'd never heard of Kundalini at that time, and it was if my consciousness expanded out beyond my body, across the land, across the sea, and out into space. But I understood later that consciousness does not expand. Consciousness already is the universe. The universe is made of consciousness. It is already expanded. My awareness expanded. Mm-hmm. And I saw things happening all over the universe at the same time. At the same time, I was everything in the universe at the same time. And it was like I had a fly's eye with 1,000,000 lenses, and I could see and be everything at the same time. And I received knowledge that I couldn't have known any other way. And over 10 years it was filtering out of my consciousness later on. It was recorded in my cells. And at one point I suddenly, mind or thought came back in. It's like, my God, this is amazing. This is what people call God without knowing anything about it. And of course when that happened, I came back into my normal body, but my eyes were crystal. Everywhere was like the first morning of the world. I could see into the souls of every person. I could tell where they were on the spiritual level. And I just knew that everything I had learned before that was just information. This was knowledge with a capital K. And this is what the Vedas call knowledge with a capital K. The Vedas are knowledge, the understanding of the reality. And only that is knowledge. I wanted to find somebody I could tell about this, but I couldn't tell anybody because it would profane the experience. I didn't want to talk about it, but I wanted somebody to understand what had happened to me, because I didn't know. My intellect was totally bypassed. The intellect has no possibility for experience. It can only chop things up afterwards. So I went, with my last money, I went to Cairo and put myself in a little pension, not knowing how I was going to pay for it. And after 3 weeks I managed to get myself a job as head designer for Cairo Television. And while I was there, all my spare time I spent in the British Library, reading every kind of mystical book, the Bible, the Quran, the Zendavesta, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever I could get hold of. And I found a book by Dr. Maurice Buck, who was a psychotherapist in an institution in Canada, and he was a friend of Walt Whitman, and he'd written a book called Cosmic Consciousness, and in that he explained what cosmic consciousness was and recounted all the experiences of everybody back to the year dot that he could find that had had this experience, and that clarified it for me that I wasn't going crazy, not that I thought for a minute, but my intellect wanted to know what the hell had happened. And so then the intellect was satisfied, but I still wanted to find somebody who had experienced that and who understood it. And I hitchhiked all the way down Africa, and I was in Africa for 3 years, and when I got to Johannesburg, I was walking past a bookshop and I saw this photograph of Ramana Maharshi in a window in a bookshop, and I stopped and I said, he knows, he understands. I could recognize immediately the look in the eyes, because the eyes show the soul. And I went in, I bought the book, Ewala. Then I became a follower of Ramana's teachings, and I ended up at his ashram being co-editor of the Mountain Path magazine, and was given the name Ramana Baba.